Hello, my Bill 1000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. We are back with another Coffeehouse Crimes. This one is titled, Why Visiting This Island Will Get You Killed. It intrigued me. Why can't I go there? Why is there an island that is forbidden for me to go unless I want to die? These are the questions I ask myself at night in the silence. Alright, if y'all are excited for today's video as I am, please go ahead, turn them lights down low, put on something comfy, curl up with something special. I'm curious. Let's all get intrigued. Yes. Yes.
In this world, there are many things that can strike fear into our hearts, but none quite so much as the fear of the unknown. The inability to understand what might lie beyond a lofty mountain peak, a deep ocean trench, or indeed behind the dense wall of a distant island rainforest can be a terrifying prospect. But what if you knew this unknown region was inhabited, and moreover, by violent people so rarely seen by the world? Would you run and leave them in peace? Would you want to know more about them? Or would you risk your life to show them the ways of the world?
I'd bite them first. Whatever the situation calls, I'd bite them. I'd bite the shit out of them. The way they know, I'll bite back. You ain't gonna nibble on my toesies. No, sir.
Welcome back to Coffeehouse Crime, folks. My name is Adrian, and today we're looking at the mysteries behind North Sentinel Island. So this story today is a little different to my usual format. We're going to look at the island, the mysteries behind it, and what encounters we've had so far. However, before we begin today, I wanted to thank Babbel for sponsoring today's video. Now, did you know that Babbel is one of the top language learning apps in the world, with over 10 million subscriptions sold worldwide? And there's very good reason for it too. Their intuitive lessons center on learning through real-life conversations. With the world now opening up, learning a new language is the perfect goal for 2023. Whether you're planning to study abroad, dreaming of a future holiday, or just want to learn something new, now is the perfect time to get started. Babbel has been great at helping me connect better with my German friends and family. I've been able to pick up new phrases, reply to friends in German, and better assimilate with their culture. And probably the most notable thing, but it's become extremely easy to understand what they're saying.
Was ist das für ein Gebäude?
Was ist das für ein Gebäude?
Babbel's lessons are designed by actual language teachers, and have been scientifically proven to help you start speaking a new language in just 3 weeks. Now, there are several different subscriptions to choose from, and for your peace of mind, they also offer a 20-day money-back guarantee.
Ich würde gern die Kathedrale besichtigen.
Ich würde gern die Kathedrale besichtigen.
So, let me ask you this question. What language would you like to learn, and what adventures await behind that?
I've done told you in the previous video, I would like to learn Chinese, or even Mandarin. That way I know what they're saying whenever I'm at the restaurant.
Click the link below and get a massive 60% off your subscription with Babbel. Thank you to Babbel for sponsoring today's video, and thank you to you folks for supporting us creators. And now with that said, please grab yourself a coffee, pull up a seat, and get ready for the deep dive. This is the case of North Sentinel Island.
North Sentinel Island.
Welcome to the Andaman Sea. Far off the coast of India and in the Bay of Bengal lie the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, an Indian archipelago or extended group of islands and one of the most isolated areas in modern years. You don't get more stereotypically tropical island than this. It's always warm yet blessed with sea breezes, often intensely sunny, and goes through regular monsoon seasons. The Andaman Islands are home to several groups of indigenous people and tribes, which include the Jarawa. Tourism has also been on the rise here, and if you ever visit any of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, you will surely be amazed.
He can even make an island where you are going to get murdered instantly look amazing to want to go visit. That's some bullshit. And talented.
By its beauty. Majestic mangroves, dense tropical rainforests, and gorgeous pristine beaches. If finding a site for sore eyes is on your agenda, then you are spoiled for choice here. Now, as you can likely guess, seafood is very much on the menu here. And with so much ocean around teeming with marine life, you'll be eating some of the freshest fish on the planet. More than 200 miles of sea separates this group of islands from any other bodies of land. And if you move away from the Andaman Islands to its even smaller neighbours, the feeling of isolation amplifies. Changing the tone quite drastically here, but we're here today to talk about one island in particular, and that is North Sentinel Island. Now, if you've heard about this island already, you'll know exactly why this
I haven't heard shit about. That's why we're watching. I need to know more. Why am I getting murdered when I get there?
This place is so terrifying yet so special. North Sentinel Island is about 23 square miles in size and in the rough shape of a shield. Satellite images show that it's surrounded by coral reefs and sand from all sides, and dense forestry covers almost every inch of the mainland, concealing everything within. Thousands upon thousands of satellite images have been taken, but it's simply impossible to see anything through the canopy. Now, theoretically, with absolutely no visibility of the
That's freaking amazing, cool, and badassery all at the same time.
ground underneath, practically anything could be hidden here. And the coastline doesn't offer that much either. Barring a shipwreck found in the northwestern corner of the island, no other sign of civilization could.
Ooh, why is there a shipwreck? Ooh, did the people that got wrecked there, did the other people eat them? I need to know these things. I gotta know.
Can be found. And as for that shipwreck, we'll get back to that in just a moment. So here is the first big mystery of this place. But visiting North Sentinel Island is actually forbidden, and no one is allowed to visit here at all. Many islands in the area already require a permit to visit, but not even the locals of all these other islands are allowed to visit North Sentinel Island. Not that they'd want to be honest. Quite frankly, they wouldn't dare. To be more specific with you, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands Protection of Aboriginal Tribes Act of 1956 prohibits any travel to the island, and this includes a 5 nautical mile exclusion zone around its waters. There is very good reason for this, because in fact, the island is home to the sentinelese, an indigenous tribe that is voluntarily isolated from the rest of the world. They are very fierce defenders of the island, and historically, any attempt to make contact with them almost always ends in violence, if not death. What's more is that if you were to actually find yourself trapped on the island, there would be no attempts made to save you. Not only do the local authorities refrain from causing any trouble to the tribe, but they also avoid any prosecution or interference should anything occur. Now, technically speaking, the island belongs to the South Andaman Administrative District, which forms part of the Indian Union Territory of the.
So if for some god-awful reason I get into like some shit at sea, I'm nowhere near the island. I'm 5 miles out, but whatever happens washes me towards this island of death. What you're telling me is I survived a horrific shipwreck, floating 5 miles to this island just to be killed by some motherfuckers? No. See, that's not okay with me. And I get it. I understand. You do what you do. You look out for your people. I got that. I understand. I understand this island's protected. I understand, why it's protected. I get all that. But save me. If I live through all that just to die by a wooden spear, I am going to be so freaking angry. It's not even fun. I'm going to be pissed. I will come back and I will haunt the world. If possible. I don't know how that works. But that's what I will do it.
Andaman and Nicobar Islands. However, recognizing that the sentinelese want to be left alone, they've all but relinquished their ownership and authority of the island. Furthermore, if anyone were to venture to the island and be harmed or, even worse, murdered, the Indian government would do nothing about it. Take this as your first and final warning, should curiosity get the better of you. So, we've covered where the island is and why it should not be considered your next holiday. But who exactly are the sentinelese, and why are they so protective of their land?
Why are they so
One
mean?
of the 6 indigenous peoples of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, the sentinelese belong to the broader class of the Andamanese peoples, all of which who settled on these islands around 26,000 years ago. It is fairly obvious to say that they are hunter-gatherers and foragers, living off the local animals and plants of the islands and coastline. From the limited information we do know, wild boar are known to roam the island, and it is believed that they eat an abundance of mollusks and mud crabs. Likely due to insular dwarfism, which is also known as the islander effect, the sentinelese are slightly shorter than most of the typical human population, coming in at around 5'3" or 1'60 m. Sporting an outdoor lifestyle, and with a lack of McDonald's and Starbucks on the island, they all show no signs of obesity and are quite muscular instead. It's impossible to tell exactly how many people are on the island, with estimates varying wildly from as little as 10 to as much as 400. Honestly, it could be even more, but there is no certainty.
Are these people interacting with them? Is that okay? I thought that was a no-no.
Here. Interesting fact, but it turns out that the sentinelese actually appreciate metal. On the extremely rare occasions of so-called contact with the outside world, their arrows were observed to have metal heads. Though in 1974, they did accept aluminium cookware left behind by the National Geographic Society. It is not known what language they speak, what hierarchy they follow, or even what they believe in. All that we do.
So National Geographic got to go there? How is that fair? Why does National Geographic get to go places and we don't? I know what makes them special. I'm not going to ask that. They're National Geographic. I mean, that was the original, like, porn magazine for any kid in, like, middle school way back in the day. No, I mean, I understand. They get to go places. But how did they get to go there without being murdered? If these people are so bad. Why do people still get to interact with them if they're so bad? They don't sound bad. They sound like that puppy that's just been wandering the woods for like years. Yeah, he's a little wild. How about poking? But you can look at it. You can wave at it. You can say hi.
Know is that they are most closely connected to other Andamanese peoples, and therefore may follow similar practices. Now, contact with the sentinelese has been far and few between. Habitation of the island was first recorded in 1771, when a passing boat spotted lights upon the shore. Almost 100 years later, in 1867, an Indian merchant vessel found itself stuck on one of the island's reefs. It is worth noting here that, despite many incorrect reports, this is not the shipwreck that can be found on Google Maps. Anyway, that ship's crew made their way onshore to find food and water, but on the third day, they were suddenly attacked by a group of islanders. We now know that these were the sentinelese, but at the time, nobody actually were aware of their existence. The crew were eventually saved by the Royal Navy Rescue Party and left in a very quick hurry. In January 1880, British naval officer Maurice Vidal Portman set sail to North Sentinel Island. He had high hopes of establishing a relationship with the sentinelese. However, upon arriving, the island seemed deserted. It seems that the sentinelese were likely trying to hide from the group of explorers. And although Maurice and his crew eventually found a network of paths and then villages, they all seemed abandoned. The group of explorers were eventually able to find 6 members of the sentinelese.
The island is not very big. I mean, I'm pretty sure Mr. Beast can buy it. It's small. You should be able to find them. It's like a needle in a haystack situation. It's not that bad. Sucks. It's not that bad. You can find someone.
Sentinelese, which included 4 children, a woman and an elderly man. Their next point of action is as stupid as it gets, but in an effort to build relations, they decided to kidnap all 6 members of the tribe. This included tying them up and putting them on a ship back to Port Blair, found on South Andaman Island. Unfortunately, with no immune system able to fight modern-day viruses, both adults died within just a few days, leaving 4 terrified children. Maurice was devastated to see them die by his actions, and what's worse is now all 4 children were becoming sick too. And so, in an effort to claw back any hope of establishing a friendship with the island, he sent all 4 children back home, along with a lot.
So they have no immunities to that damn thing, do they? Probably not. They don't interact with no one. Oh my god, that's awful. So if we were to go there and sneeze, they would all die. We are filthy people.
Large number of gifts and food. We don't actually know what happened after this, but sending 4 sick children back to the island, it is very likely they killed off some, if not most of the tribe. It's widely speculated that Morris's actions strengthened their hostility to the world, which, to be honest with you, I can't blame them in the slightest.
I don't either.
Now, things kind
That's completely understandable. Oh, bro, you just like stole 6 of our people. Now you let 2 of them die because y'all filthy fuckers. And you bring the other 4 back, and there's something wrong with them. They're killing everyone else as well. We're all fucking dying. No, I wouldn't trust us either. I wouldn't trust no one.
have settled down after this. Maurice made his way back to the island in 1883, 1885 and 1887, but made no noteworthy contact with them. 9 years later, in 1896, a convict used a makeshift raft to gallantly escape from the Ross Island penal colony. Now, he likely felt lucky after managing to slip by without being captured, but now he was at the whim of the tide instead, a tide that drifted him across to North Sentinel Island. Several days later, search parties found his body. The man was covered with several arrow piercings and a cut throat. Moving forward, there are a few other notable moments worth discussing. In 1977, a cargo ship named MV Russley became grounded on the Northern Reef, and in 1981, the MV Primrose did the exact same thing. In fact, you can still see the shipwreck of the Primrose on satellite images today. It all began when a storm veered it off course and into the rocky, shallow waters. And 2 days later, a cargo boat received a desperate call from the ship's captain. He requested an urgent airdrop of weapons to, quote, fight off around 50 wild island people, all carrying spears and arrows. The crew kept a 24-hour guard until rescue teams arrived, and as soon as they did, everyone fled immediately. Now, here's another interesting fact, but the
I could not be that motherfucker getting that message on the other side. I couldn't. Because, it'd probably be like some tappy shit. This is back in the day. Fuck, shit was fucked. So, they probably wasn't able to, like, actual radio, like, hello. So, it's the tappy, and I'd be sitting there like, 50 people with sticks. I mean, I get it. I understand. They know what they're doing. They've been doing it however long they've been on that damn island. They have expertised it. But still, I could be that dude getting the message. I'd be like, anyone got a fucking lighter? It's wood. It's all gonna burn. Just go on about it. Burn it all.
island has recently gone through severe geographical transformations too. Most of you will remember the horror of the Boxing Day earthquake and the tsunami of 2004. It ripped through the Indian Ocean, devastating hundreds of islands, and left more than 250,000 people.
I'm pretty sure we seen a video on it. I think it was like a Mr. Ballin top 3 video thing. Pictures, top 3 stories with pictures. Think. I don't know. We've seen so many videos. But no, I don't remember. Ooh, that would be awful because they're stuck there by themselves. Anything that hits them like that. Like, I wonder what their strategies are for natural disasters. I mean, every place in the world has certain precautions go through during times of crisis and everything else. What is their hey? I know what I'm wanting to ask, but I don't know the words to ask what I'm wanting to ask, so that's the best that we're getting. What's their escape plan for just life in general? There we go. Good enough. We're moving the fuck on.
People dead. But it also had a substantial effect on North Sentinel Island too. Tectonic shifts under the island raised it and the surrounding seabed by almost 2 meters. This thrust the coral reef surrounding the island out of the water, which in turn dried out and died. And since 2004, this has been clearly visible on satellite images. And another interesting fact, but you can see from this image comparison of the ship how much the waters have changed due to the earthquake. Anyway, the main man we are going to talk about today is a devout Christian named John Allen Chao. John was born on December 18, 1991 in Scottsboro, Alabama. His father, Patrick, was an immigrant and professional psychiatrist. Meanwhile, his mother, Linda, was an attorney. Alongside his brother and sister, he was raised in a loving and nurturing home. And although both of his parents were in scientific
Shit's gonna go south. That sounds amazing.
careers, they too were devout Christians. Moving into their teenage years, both of John's siblings went on to study medicine. However, this wouldn't be the same for John himself. He was infatuated with Christianity and the excitement of adventure. And not only did he enjoy the outdoors and hiking, but he also had a childhood dream of living on a deserted island. And you can probably see where this is going. John realized that the best way to quench his thirst for traveling while also spreading
Fluffernutters. I told you it was gonna be bad. Son of a bitch. Maybe they took him in, raised him, kept him as their own.
the word of God was by becoming a missionary. By the age of 17, he had become aware of North Sentinel Island and its people. And, most likely buying into his fantasy to live on a deserted island, he believed that he could be the one to help teach them and bring them to God. It was in the year 2015 that John first travelled to the Andaman Islands. He avoided North Sentinel Island but scoped the area out, building connections and a possible way to cross the sea. He would travel here again in the year 2016, all in the meanwhile living in California and working as a park guide while travelling all around America. 1 year later, in 2017, he completed
He's preparing himself. He's doing all this adventure-y shit and outdoorsy shit. That way he might survive.
a 12-week linguistics course specializing in communicating with unknown languages. He would even run a missionary-style boot camp which taught other missionaries how to convert remote tribes. This included a weekend full of roleplay, where half the missionaries pretended to be native islanders that lived in huts and used spears. Now it's obvious that John was absolutely
Did anyone die? Because if not, they wasn't good actors at all. Like, I'd been out there, I would have chucked a spear through someone's face. Yeah, you gotta make it look real, bro.
obsessed with North Sentinel Island, and not only did he express this to friends, but he told them he'd soon visit it too. Describing it as Satan's last stronghold on Earth, he made it his personal goal in life to show them the way of God. And in 2018, he finally set out on his mission. In October 2018,
How do you think they're going to feel about you coming to their island? First off, I don't know much about this culture of wild island people. I don't know what they believe in. But I do know most cultures believe in something. Whether it's a person or, everyone has a belief. They already don't like people coming to their island. Everyone that has come to their island has done something fucking stupid and fucked up somewhere. And now you're gonna go there and try to make them believe in God. Oh God. I mean, I give you props, bud, but I don't think you want to do this. This is probably gonna be bad.
John once again travelled back to Port Blair. Taking up residence nearby, he got to work on an initial contact kit, which included picture cards for communication, gifts for the sentinelese people, medical equipment, and other necessities. In an effort to keep the islanders safe, he then fully vaccinated himself against common viruses, before quarantining himself for a period of 11 days. In the lead up to his journey, he began to scout around for local fishermen who were willing to take him close to the island, and eventually he was able to bribe 3 fishermen with 25,000 rupees, the equivalent of $300 or £250. Under the blanket of darkness, the fishermen hid
Not too bad, not too bad. I wouldn't do it, but not too bad.
him in their boat, ready to make the 60-mile journey before dawn. And in the early morning hours of November 15th, 2018, they finally made it near the island's shore. Despite warnings from the fishermen, John offloaded himself from the boat and onto a kayak, before then paddling to the beach. The sentinelese already knew that he was there. They were chanting and shouting at him as he arrived. John replied back in English.
I don't know. I don't know what kind of language they speak. Is it like clicks, like? Is it like calls, like? What they language?
Saying, "My name is John, I love you and Jesus loves you. Jesus Christ gave me the authority to come to you. Here is some fish." In response to his alien language, the tribespeople drew their arrows, and now panicking, John paddled away as fast as he could.
I don't think they're going to know what the meaning of Jesus Christ. I really don't think they're going to understand that. You should go there and be like, "I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Please do not kill me. I promise I'm good people. Good people." Everyone knows that. It'll be okay.
Despite the fear and terror at almost being killed, John was very disappointed in himself. His mission had failed, and so far, all of this effort was for nothing. He therefore decided he would have to return the next day instead. Paddling back to shore the next morning,
Not only has he failed himself, but he has failed religion. He can't have that. That's what's going to get him killed. Is that he doesn't care if he fails himself, but he can't fail his religion. And that's what he feels like he's doing. He even said himself, he was sent there by Jesus Christ himself. He's not just going to take no for an answer and be able to walk away. Not going to happen. It's going to get him killed.
he began to hear shouts and drumming, and after eventually looking up, he saw a man on a coral rock wearing a crown of flowers. In an effort to communicate, John repeated their words and chants back to them, in which the tribespeople then burst out in laughter. Making his way to the shore, he then handed over all of his gifts as 2 men stole his kayak, and before he even knew it, a young boy had drawn an arrow into his bow. Beginning to panic and worry, John began to read from the Bible, when suddenly a thwang was heard from the small crowd in front of him. John felt a sudden thud, and as he looked down, he noticed an arrow stuck in the Bible in his hands. Terrifyingly, if it were not for this book, the arrow would have pierced through his chest. Stumbling and shouting in shock and fear, John retreated as fast as he could, and after his legs found themselves deep in water, he then began to swim, paddling over 1 mile back to the boat he came from. Luckily, he made it back to safety, but despite the close call with death, John was not satisfied with his mission. Writing in his diary late that evening, he said, "I'm grateful that I still have the written word of God. It's weird. Actually, no, it's natural that I'm scared. There, I said it. I don't want to die. Would it be wiser to leave and let someone else continue? Lord, let your will be done. If you want me to get actually shot or even killed with an arrow, then so be it. I think I could be more useful alive though. But to you, God, I give all the glory of whatever happens." The next morning, on November the 17th,
What the actual fuck is wrong with you? Maybe the Bible is stopping the arrow from killing you was God's way of saying, "Hey, I don't want you to die by an arrow. Go home." That's what I would take from it. And I would have been gone. Bye bye.
2018, John wrote, "I hope this isn't my last notes,
It is.
but if it is,
Oh,
to
it
God be
is.
the glory." John then handed all of his belongings over to the fisherman and stripped down to his black underpants. And after hopping back into the water, he asked them to leave and motor back out to sea. Saying goodbye, he swam once more to North Sentinel Island's shore. The fisherman returned to the island the next morning, motoring along the coastline in search for any signs of John.
They left him. Like, altogether left him. They didn't just like go and wait. They let. He's dead.
And that is when they realized something lying on the beach. Looking closer, they realized it was a body wearing black underpants, and this almost certainly confirmed that it was John Allen Chao. Just moments later, the sentinelese dragged him into the jungle. The fisherman rushed back to Port Blair, and several phone calls later, John's family were tragically informed of his death. Now, of course, everyone who knew of his plans were devastated, but not necessarily everyone was surprised. Now, what followed was an intense and very unique predicament, and there were two very large questions to answer. The first big question was, should the sentinelese be prosecuted for his murder? And the second one was, should the authorities recover his body? Well, since John had specifically said, "Don't retrieve my body," in his diary, authorities felt inclined to respect his wish and the island's privacy. And then, 3 days after his death, his family used his Instagram
Luckily, he was nice enough to say, please no one else do the things I'm about to do, because you just don't need to.
account to say, "We recently learned from an unconfirmed report that John Allen Chao was reportedly killed in India while reaching out to the Sentinelese tribe in the Andaman Islands. We forgive those reportedly responsible for his death. He ventured out on his own free will, and his local contacts need not be persecuted for his actions." The authorities ultimately concluded that no prosecutions should be made, and that all of those involved in getting John to the island should be bailed out too. Indian officials initially made several attempts to recover John's body, but in the end they all agreed that the risk against the islanders was too great to justify. Repatriation parties eventually abandoned all their efforts, and to this day, John's death technically has never been officially confirmed. In fact, John's own mother even speculates that he is still alive and on the island. Her only comment to the media so far is that she prefers to let John tell his own story when he returns. Now, this is technically not outside the realm of impossibility.
It's not. He could have just been knocked out. They could just drug him in there and made him their bitch. It happens.
But considering the fishermen's reports, which, by the way, they had no reason to fabricate, the vast majority of people do believe he is dead. It's unknown what the Sentinelese think of us, but we ourselves should look at them with respect, dignity, and understanding. There is, very reasonably, a great sense of mystery and even fear towards the island and its inhabitants. We are beings of curiosity, and the unknown often scares us. But at the end of the day, the Sentinelese are no different to you and me. There is no mysterious force behind their chanting, no evil plan behind their actions, and no dark magic in their soil. They are human beings, comfortable with what they know and scared of what they don't understand. I mean, who even knows what they think when they see a plane or a helicopter above? John held no ill intent on his journey, but the Sentinelese did not know this when he landed on their shores. With their unprepared immune systems, he could have posed an extremely serious threat to their existence. And for all we know, he may very well have even infected or killed a few just by briefly being there. And we must always remember that, despite our routine gifts to the island, some of their former experiences with us have included being kidnapped and even death through a mysterious illness. And with all of this in
that's our bad. That was not smart.
mind, their attacks on visitors are very likely simply out of self-defense. The Sentinelese have lived on this island for up to 55,000 years, with little or no contact to the outside world. And while it may be okay to observe them uninterrupted and from a distance, the Sentinelese have lived on this island for up to 55,000 years.
55,000 years? Damn.
years with little or no contact to the outside world. And while it may be okay to observe them uninterrupted and from a distance, we should respect their ongoing desire to be left alone. To be honest with you, it is unclear what the future holds for the sentinelese. But in a world dominated by rapidly changing technology, an obsession for superficial appearance, and a lifestyle that is so far removed from what humans faced in the most natural state not so many thousands of years ago, it is admirable and in some ways enviable that this tribe has been able to hold on to its privacy and natural identity. And who knows, maybe our man John Allen Chao is still out there, learning and living the ways of this incredibly fascinating tribe.
Maybe.
Interesting side note, but John's Instagram and blog are both still up and running to this date, so what I'm gonna do is leave a link to both of them in the comment section down below. It is very unlikely that he's still alive, which of course is a shame, but at the end of the day, that's what you get for traveling to North Sentinel Island. The island itself is incredibly fascinating, and being real with you, I spent many hours on Google Earth just seeing if I could find anything. Honestly, there's not much to find. There's a shipwreck to the north and huts down to the south. But otherwise, the island remains pretty much entirely a mystery. I guess that's a good thing, really. I mean, they deserve their privacy. And for us, what's the fun in having nothing to wonder about? Anyway folks, I think I'm gonna wrap this one up here. Thank you so much for being here for another video by Coffeehouse Crime. Have you found this case interesting?
It's not so much as wondering, what you up to, fool? It's more like wondering what could be on the island that we've never seen before. Other than the people that's on the island that we've never seen before. You know what I mean? I'm serious. Like, what if like some ancient god only knows what went there and built like alien spacecraft? We don't know. We'll never know. Because these people are just mean. They just pokey. But I don't blame them for being mean. The people that went there were stupid. Hey, stupid. It happens. Stupid is, stupid does. Yeah. Alright. I really enjoyed that. I like little things like that. Man, I enjoyed it. I actually came away from this not traumatized by anything. I feel bad for the boy that went there in the name of Jesus and got potentially murdered. But that was his own fault. Like, I'm pretty sure, God was getting him a sign when the Bible kept the arrow from killing him. Pretty sure that was his way of saying, nah, bro, I don't want you to die by an arrow today. It's going to hit you right in the book, and you're going to realize, God just saved my life. I need to go on. I need to go home. I can accomplish cooler, better, stronger things. Just, yeah. But no, he went dumb and went back. It happens. People do shit. We can't never stop it. Alright. If y'all enjoyed today's video as much as I did, please leave a thumbs up. If you're a fan of the spooky, scary, strange, deranged, mysterious tropical islands that you can never go to, think about subscribing. We'll figure something out. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. So literally, okay, like, did they bury him? Did they cut him up and feed him to the pigs? Did they eat him? Thinking like, oh no, let's eat his body so like whenever his virus shit comes out of him, we're not so susceptible. I need to know what they did with his body. I want to know if he's still alive. Even. Like, what if he really is alive? What if he was just like knocked out and then there's just like, maybe it was like what you go through whenever you word tip tongue. Inauguration? No, is it? No, is it? Maybe that was how he got put into the gang. Was they beat him down and like they left him out there thinking he was going to die, but he lived. And it was like, let's take him over there and hook him up. He's one of us now. Initiation. Son of a bitch, why was that so hard? I don't know. Oh. Words.